Why? I made you ribs yesterday, dude. Well, my meaty friends, we're back here in the Squid Game's kitchen. I have a fresh pair of pants and a delicious lunch that we're gonna prepare for all the staff here at the Squid Game's compound. This might be a rough one. I stayed up a little late last night drinking soju with the guards, feeling a little bit raw. Or as the Koreans say, I'm a little kunjirin. But that's not gonna stop us from whipping up a very delicious Korean flank steak lunch. The steak itself, instead of what we did last time with the Korean short ribs, we marinated them for 24 hours and then cooked them. We're not gonna marinate the steak. Instead, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grill the steak the traditional cooking meat way, and then we're gonna make a sauce to dip it in, and we're gonna have a lot of little accoutrements, a lot of little sides to go with our steak and our dishes. So it should be fun. Let's get cooking. Or as the locals say, 요리하자. All right, so we're gonna make the sides first because the steak's not gonna take very long. We're just gonna go out and grill it on that fucking Squid Game's grill. We're gonna let this sit out. We're gonna do 2 sides, cucumber salad. We're gonna do like a steamed bean sprout dish. Then we're gonna have some kimchi that I'm not gonna make because I don't know how, that's a little too complicated for me. I think you need a specific Korean cabbage and it has to ferment in a clay pot underground for like 10,000 years. We don't have that time here. So I had the guards go out and buy it and they brought back the real deal. I mean, this is the real authentic stuff. Cosmos kimchi. We'll have some kimchi, we'll have some lettuce to wrap it in, we'll make a little dipping sauce to dip in our meats. We still have some leftover rice from yesterday, so we don't need to cook that. But yeah, let's get going. So first thing we're gonna do, make our little cucumber salad. This cucumber salad is pretty easy. Thin sliced cucumbers. You can use whatever kind of cucumber you want. I think the ones that they're supposed to use are like Persian ones. So we're gonna slice this real thin. If you have a mandolin, this would be really easy to do on a mandolin. We got our cucumber sliced, throw it in the bowl. Slice up a green onion to throw it in there. When you get green onions, usually the ends are a little kind of like dead. So I usually just cut off the ends and not use that part. Okay, I know. So yeah, so we got green onions, cucumbers. Next thing we're gonna add is a pinch of Korean chili flakes. I like to kind of crunch them up with my fingers a little bit. Help spread it out. Do a pinch of salt. We're gonna do equal parts soy sauce. Shoot. All right, we got a little extra. Sesame oil, toasted sesame oil. We're gonna do the same, about the same. Do a little more than one since I spilled that one earlier. A little smidgen of sesame seeds, a little sprinkle. A little pinch of white sugar. And the last thing we're gonna do is just a little bit of chopped garlic. And we want to kind of get this a really nice mince because it's not going to be cooked, so they're going to have little, like raw little bites of garlic. So you want to kind of make them as small as you can. We don't really necessarily need them minced because you do want to have a little texture. Plus, I like a little garlic, so put that in there. All right, so now we're just going to take this and mix it up. Kind of want to make sure the cucumbers kind of stick together, so you want to make sure you get them separated. We'll put that in the fridge. Side number 1. Next, what we're gonna do is we're going to, I wouldn't say boil the bean sprouts. I would say we're gonna blanch them. We're gonna get them nice and soft, still have a little crunch to it, almost kind of al dente, how we grilled the vegetables last time. We don't want them soft and mushy, and we don't want them raw. Kind of right in the middle, a perfect blend. So we're gonna get some water boiling for that, and while the water's boiling, we're gonna make our dipping sauce for our steaks. And always salt your water. That's soju, it sneaks up on you. Okie dokie. So we got our water boiling. Next, we're going to make a dipping sauce for our steak. This one, I'm pretty sure is called samjang. Samjang. There's a lot of S's in the beginning. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But samjang. This is a pretty standard dipping sauce. Not a lot of ingredients, super easy. We'll whip it up in a second while this water boils. Flank steak is not that tough. It's a grilling steak. So we'll just grill it medium rare. We'll dip it into the sauce to give it that kind of rich umami flavor rather than marinating it overnight. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna bring out Ghost of Jan. This is probably like a pretty standard ingredient for most sauces and marinades in Korean cooking. Next, we're gonna add like 3 tablespoons. This is doenjang. And what this is, basically is fermented soybean paste. Right, so it's fermented soybeans. It's got a sweetness and umami-ness to it like right off the bat. So we'll do 3 of these guys. 1, 2, and 3. All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the end of the last green onion that we just had, and we're gonna chop it up, use the white onion, and throw it in here. So we're gonna cut off the little roots. We're gonna kind of split this down the middle, then slice it. Then same thing for the other guy. Next, we're gonna do about a full tablespoon of sesame oil. Fill this guy up. Get a little more, I just feel like it needs a little more. I love sesame oil. Use sesame oil is what I'm saying. We're gonna use rice wine vinegar to kind of give it a little sweetness to it. So we're gonna give a half a tablespoon of rice wine vinegar, and then a pinch of white sugar to give a little sweetness to it. Last thing is we're gonna put some sesame seeds in there. See how this works when we start mixing it together. A rich, thick paste for dipping. Yeah, let's give it a taste. Hey, not bad. I got the recipe from him. It's his great grandma's secret recipe. Not so secret anymore. It's got some good heat to it. Really good umami in there. Some nuttiness from the sesame oil. That's gonna be a great dipping sauce. So now that's done, we'll put this away. We'll clean up this cylinder a little bit, and then we'll go on to the next step. We have our sauce and our first side dish done. Next, we're going to make the second side dish, which is going to be a steamed bean sprout thing. A very ubiquitous side dish that you see in lots of Korean barbecue places. So got the water boiling. We've already put some salt in there. We're gonna dump them all in there like so. We'll give that probably like 10 minutes or so. While we do that, we can start working on the dressing for it. Another tablespoon of sesame oil. Toasted sesame seeds. But I mean, if you think about it, think about Italian cooking, think about Mexican cooking. It's all the same ingredients really, just done up in different ways and different formations to give you different flavors and flavor combinations. It's gonna be the same basic ingredients, just kind of used in different ways to bring out different flavors. So the next thing we're gonna do, our old pal Ping Pong had to get this specifically for me. This is Korean soup soy sauce. Whatever, dude. It smells a little sweeter. It smells a little bit sweeter than regular soy sauce. I don't know, maybe a little more vinegary too, maybe a little more acidic. We're gonna do 2 of these. Bang, and bang. Chopped green onion. These are probably about 5 minutes away. Still not quite cooked where we want them to be. Still pretty crunchy. Ping Pong, we've gotten close, right? We're friends, right? We can talk to each other. We can tell each other stuff, huh? First crush, go. Did you just say Jennifer Lopez? These look good. We'll turn off the heat. We're gonna put them in this bowl and some paper towels and let them dry off a little bit. We don't want them to be super wet going straight into the little dressing that we're making. We want them to dry off just a bit. All right, Ping Pong, you guard those, please. We are going to give this garlic a real fine chop. When I do garlic on these kinds of things, on like little salads, whatever, I like having that little like crunch of garlic to it. So I'm gonna leave these chopped, not minced. Then the last thing we're gonna do is just add a little pinch of salt there. So we'll just add a little salt in there. Mix that all together. We don't have a lot of it in there. It's kind of like a salad. We just want to make sure everything gets coated. The flavor, the umami flavor to kind of evenly coat around the beans. Then we let it chill and get cold, and that's about it. All right, meatheads and squid heads. It's dry enough and cool enough. We're just gonna dump it all of our bean sprouts. Give it a nice toss. Oh my God, it's really good though. So we're gonna let this cool off. All right, so we got this beautiful flank steak out. Boy, do I miss Christensen Ranch and Neil deGrasse Fed Bison, because they could give you all the facts on flank steak. But either way, it's a great grilling steak. You can check it out. It's very muscly, not a ton of fat on it. The grain goes there. It's very defined grain. So we're gonna slice our steak this way when we cut into it. It's got some chew to it. It's not a very tender steak when you think of like filet mignon or ribeye or something like that. But it is a very beefy, delicious steak. We're gonna season this up in the traditional cooking meat steak rub, salt, pepper, garlic. Then we'll take it outside, grill it. We'll come back, and then it's time for some Korean barbecue. Generous helping of salt. Beautiful. Fresh cracked pep, as is tradition. About half the pepper that we did of the salt. And then a nice little layer of garlic powder. Probably about half the amount of garlic powder that we did of salt. Garlic powder is much thinner and finer, and again, that's when I see a steak that looks like that, perfectly seasoned. That is the exact way I want to see steak seasoned every time I see a steak. And we'll do it again on the other side. That's okay, that'll burn off. That'll burn off out there. Good salt, fresh cracked pepper, double crank, triple crank, crank it up. Crank it up, crank it in. Let me begin to cook this steak. And our garlic. Pat that in. Looks amazing. So let's head outside and cook ourselves another Korean style flank steak. All right, let's use this fucking piece of shit. Grill's hot, grill's clean enough, I guess. Fire kills all, remember that, fire kills all. This is a big, thick piece of meat. So we're gonna let it sear on the hot, hot grill. And we're actually gonna cover this because it's gonna be a pretty thick piece of meat. Flank steak is another steak that we wanna cook about medium rare. So we're gonna hit this hot with the lid cover, make a real easy steak out of it. Yeah, it's starting to really roast and crisp up. I'm a big believer in only flipping a steak once. So we're gonna let that sit until it is ready to be flipped on its own. Creative oven effect. That's gonna help it cook a little faster, and we'll flip it over again in about 2 minutes and let it go. There's a lot of noise pollution in Korea. Probably why you can't see the stars at night. All right, so yep, we're gonna give this a flip. Back on the side right here. That's a good piece of meat right there. And then we're gonna just kind of let this go. I bet you that's already right around the rare from that one side. So I'm not gonna close it. I'm gonna let that other side roast up to the right temperature, and that by then it'll be perfectly cooked. We'll pull it off and we'll let it rest. The VIPs of the Squid Games, they knew what they were doing when they picked me out of them to cook a meat, because trust me, these guys aren't having steaks like this with old ping pong in the kitchen. Probably one more minute, we're good. And then we'll let that rest before we slice it, get everything going, and then we're gonna have another great lunch, huh? No? I feel like we've really bonded over all this. You must have learned a thing or two about cooking, huh? No? All right. Alrighty, we have our grilled flank steak. All of our sides and dipping sauces that we made. We're gonna let that rest a little bit while we plate this up. First thing we're gonna do is gonna use the rice that we made from yesterday. Put that like right in the middle. See how it clumps like that? The rice that I would make at home would never clump like that. Then let's take a little of our bean sprout dish. Cucumbers. Everything can marinate for about a day. I wouldn't let things go more than a day because it starts to kind of break down a little bit, and everything needs at least an hour or so. Next, of course, Cosmo's kimchi, the most authentic kimchi you can find around these parts. All right, so the grain's running this way, so we're gonna slice it against the grain. Nice, medium rare. And again, we rested it so juice isn't just spilling out of this guy. One more for you, ping pong. All right, you're a growing boy. Let's pile meat right here like this. Then we'll add a little green onion, rice, and bang. That steak is fucking perfect. Anyone who wants to take on the king, I'll steak you any day. Oh my God, it's good. Super tender, it's got a nice chew to it, very beefy. We have some fresh bib lettuce. We have our steak dipping sauce. So it's very fresh. A little salt, a little sweet, a little crunch, a little nuttiness from that toasted sesame oil. Wow, okay. Again, it's almost the same ingredients as this, but that soup soy sauce really gives it a much richer umami flavor, and there's almost like a little bitter sweet to it. I don't know if you can tell, I'm not Korean, but I think I did pretty good on these guys. All right, so what we'll do is we'll take a little piece of steak, our lettuce, add some cucumbers, add a little bit of this guy. We'll add some kimchi, and we'll add a little bit of our steak dipping sauce that we made. And we'll see how all this tastes together. Oh wow, oh my God. The acidity, the nuttiness, the freshness, the crispness of the vegetables pair so well with that grilled steak. It's kind of a leaner steak. It's got great beef flavor. So all those flavors combined taste really well. This dipping sauce is pretty rich. A little goes a long way. It really complements the steak because the steak is just very savory, salty, peppery. And this is very umami. That's incredible. And nothing that we did here is too complicated. I mean, I didn't make the kimchi, obviously. I'm gonna leave that up to Cosmo. Everything else, maybe 10, 15 minutes on each thing. I would say even back home in America, on a hot day, if you wanna change up the way you eat steak, some of this freshness to it, little rice, little steak, little kimchi, that's a great warm weather steak dish. That is fantastic. I love the way that came out. Ping pong, can you watch this? I gotta go to the bathroom. I've had to go to the bathroom for this whole time. You don't need to watch me anymore, okay? We've been doing this for months, all right? Enjoy some food. I'm just gonna use the restroom, and then we'll come back and bring this to the cafeteria, all right? Eat up.